Bazar Sports Radio on KVRX Austin. Will Wazarski and Zach Dolan's Matt Hand is not with us today. He will be back next week. A lot of big stuff in sports. We have pitchers and catchers reported today. Zach is very happy about that.
Big day in baseball. It's the best time of year. Spring training is just around the corner. As you said, pitchers and catchers reported today. Excited to see them all get back on the field.
Me too. And, of course, we can't forget to mention the Olympics.
The Olympics have officially started. The 2018 Winter Olympics. We have a big start from USA out of the 17-year-old Chloe Kim winning the women's halfpipe, and Shaun White making his return to win his elusive third gold medal in men's halfpipe.
Yeah, rebounding from that accident just a few years ago. So emotional on the podium with his family and his friends. Truly remarkable for him. Mm-hmm. And, of course, Chloe Kim. Wonderful and incredible accomplishment by her. 17 years of age. What have we done with our lives?
I'm 19.
What have we done with our lives? I mean, it begs the question. But truly remarkable performance. I mean, I watched it and my mind was blown.
Yeah, it's very impressive. Very impressive that people can do that.
And of course, can't forget to mention that Friday at 6:30, University of Texas baseball team opens up at home against Louisiana Lafayette. It's David Pierce's second season here at Texas. They finished 39-24 last season, 11-12 in Big 12 play, 6th in the conference. They did make the NCAA regionals, losing in that championship game to Long Beach State. They got swept by Texas Tech and TCU last year. They did sweep Kansas State. That's a big importance. You have to sweep Big 12 teams, or just avoid getting swept. Win those series 2-1, because this Big 12 is hot.
So what does Texas have to do differently this year? What are any new additions, or what's going on in Texas baseball to make them better this year?
So last season they had some very talented players. You lost 11 total players to the MLB draft. You're losing hitters such as Casey Clemens, who's on the Blue Jays, Zane Gerwitz, Brett Boswell, Patrick Mathis, Travis Jones. Those hitters responsible for 251 out of Texas' 508 hits.
Yeah, and over half the home runs.
Right. That's your entire offense, basically.
Yeah.
And then also, you got to look at their pitching. You're losing Morgan Cooper, Nick Kennedy, Kyle Johnston, Tyler Schempf, Connor Mays, and John Melman, responsible for 370 of Texas' 560.1 innings pitched.
Yeah, so we're obviously losing a big part of what our team was last year, but I believe we have a very good recruiting here at Texas, so look for our team to be good this year.
Yeah, and there are three keys to win this season. They have to, like we said, win the non-conference games. They were 28-12 last year. That's a big deal. Got to avoid the sweeps. 500 win percentage or above would be fantastic. And like we said, the young guys need to fill in with all those guys going to the MLB draft. See them step up. Of course, David Hamilton at shortstop is going to lead the infield. So hopefully it'll be a good season. I'm excited. I think we're planning on going to that game Friday night because
definitely
we love Texas baseball.
I'm excited. I love watching baseball. Moving on to the NFL big news coming out of Oakland. The Raiders have cut ties with longtime kicker Sebastian Janikowski. He's 40 years old. He went down last year with a back injury, and this kid, Giorgio Tavecchio, came in early in the year. No one really knew who he was, and he ended up being fantastic. Converted 16 of 21 field goal attempts with a long of 53. He was good for him last year. He's going to be the future of kicking in Oakland and obviously soon in Las Vegas, so that's what's going on in Oakland.
Yeah, Janikowski, 17th overall pick in 2000 by then John Gruden, actually. Yeah. John Gruden came back, and he dealt him away, told them today that they're not re-signing him for 2018. He's 40 years old. We'll see if he ends up on another roster, but with that back issue, it's not very likely. But he still has the leg. No question there. He can kick that.
Sure.
All right, and also Johnny Manziel. Oh. All right.
Johnny Manziel is back in the news.
Of course he is. He has signed on to play in the Spring League, which is here in Austin, running from March 28th to April 15th. He's told ABC News on Monday that he was diagnosed with bipolar disease, and he's made his share of mistakes, but he is thankful for the opportunity to play in the Spring League. What is your take on this?
I think that Money Manziel, I think he's a good football player. We all saw what he did in college at A&M. He's just a very good football-minded quarterback. I think he knows what he's doing. I guess, obviously, with this bipolar diagnosis coming out, that can explain a lot of his behavior that's happened in the recent past that we all remember him by now. So hopefully if he can get into rehab, start fixing some of his problems, I think that he can make a return to the NFL one day.
Right. He last played in the NFL in 2015 with the Browns. And what's interesting is that was their last win on a Sunday.
Really? It was with Manziel?
With Manziel back in 2015. He was the 22nd overall pick in the 2014 draft. He won the Heisman in 2012. He's a very, like we said, very talented player in college. I'm thinking this is another celebrity stunt. He had an option to sign with a Canadian Football League team. I do think that was his best chance to get back, one foot in front of the other. But he thinks he can get back into the NFL. The NFL does not want to deal with him and his shenanigans. And I don't see him coming back.
With all this coming out and you're looking at what his problems were, you're wondering why any team would prefer to have a guy with bipolar disorder over a guy like Colin Kaepernick, who just stood up for what he believed in. He's, I believe, still a better football player than
100%.
Johnny Manziel. I think there's no reason that Colin Kaepernick should not be in the league.
Not even that. You got 3 quarterbacks on the Minnesota Vikings who could be a starting quarterback. You don't need Johnny Football. He screwed up. That was his fault. He wasn't really thinking all about himself in the moment. He thinks this will provide him another chance to play in the NFL, and he hopes to earn that privilege by playing in the spring league. I think he had a better chance of earning it in the Canadian Football League, like I said before. With that, Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that's a better topic.
Yes.
Jimmy Garoppolo. 5-year contract, $27.5 million a year. Zach, what would you buy with that?
Well, what would I buy with that? Jeez, I don't know. You could buy so much with that.
Stock options?
I mean, I don't think he's going to put that into stocks. I mean, this is the largest contract in NFL history. Jimmy G can do a lot with this kind of money. And you know what, Will? I think he deserves it. He was 5-0 in his 5 starts with the 49ers. He hasn't lost a game as a starter in his entire career. Given he hasn't had too much experience, he's only started 7 games, but the 49ers clearly see a lot in this kid.
And, I was talking to Matt earlier, who is not with us today, but he'll be here next week. He was saying that, so I asked him, are the 49ers now the team to beat in the West? He said no. It's all the Rams. Now, I'm gonna disagree with that. You watch him 5-0 with the 49ers. 49ers were terrible before he got there. He's bringing life to this offense. I'm not saying they're going to be the number 1 team and the Rams are out of this, but they're going to bring their game and they're going to challenge the Rams, no question.
I still think personally that the Rams are the team to beat in the NFC West. I mean, you look, Coach of the Year, Sean McVay turned that Rams team around from a dismal 4-12 season to the 11-5 season they had last year. Aaron Donald, again, Defensive Player of the Year. Gurley, Offensive Player of the Year. They have an incredible O-line. Jared Goff is looking much better after his first year. This past year, he looked really good. Obviously, they made the playoffs this year. I think the Rams are still the team to beat. And if you look at the 49ers schedule, you still see that towards the end of the year, they beat the Jaguars and the Rams. But that could be argued to the fact that the Jaguars and the Rams both already solidified themselves in the playoffs, and they probably didn't need the games as much, which is why Garoppolo was able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, no question. The Rams are still a good football team, but the 49ers are going to challenge them in all aspects of the game.
Yeah, no
you said it, 5-0. But I wouldn't say the 49ers are technically the team to beat in the NFC West. I mean, to some extent, they're going to challenge them, but you never know with this 49ers team led by Jimmy Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
With that, a little NHL action. Seattle does not have an NBA team or any team in the winter sports. They have filed for an NHL expansion team. NHL is 31 teams now, as they got Las Vegas this past season, and they were looking to get 32. The expansion fee set at $650 million. Vegas was $500 million last season. This December, Seattle approved a $600 million renovation to Key Arena, and these renovations are set to finish in 2020, and the goal for Seattle is to hopefully get a team going by 2020, 2021 when the renovations are complete. But what are some of these team names that they're coming out with? You have the Seals, the Kraken, the Whales, Sea Lions, Emeralds. Top 5, what do you think?
I think these are very interesting names. I feel like they speak to Seattle in a way, though, because you think of Seattle, you think of them on the coast, you think, it rains a lot there.
So the Rainers?
It makes sense. Yeah, the Seattle Rain, I think, would be a fantastic name. I think it's interesting that they're actually going to get a hockey team before they would get a basketball team, because obviously we all know what happened with the Supersonics moving to Oklahoma City a couple years ago, so they've been trying to get a basketball team back. I think an NHL team, or really, frankly, any professional sports team in Seattle, it's a great market. I think it's a great place that players would want to play. Obviously, we see the Seahawks have been thriving in Seattle, so definitely a good place for professional sports.
Yeah, so it looks like they will be the next team to get an NHL franchise. And once they hit that 32nd spot, I don't think they're going to be looking to expand, which is sad because I want to see a team come to Houston. I really do. It's such an exciting sport.
Yeah.
Houston had the Arrows back in the 70s and kind of got screwed over by the WHA and the NHL back then when they merged as one. But I'll talk about that another day. And of course, got this day in history with Will and Zach.
My new favorite segment of the show.
All right, Zach, lead us off.
So we got in 1887, on this day, February 14th, the Cubs sold Mike King Kelly to the Boston Red Sox for a record at the time, $10,000. It's a lot of money.
Add a couple of zeros to that, and that's today's value.
Yeah, right.
And hockey, we're going to continue with it. 1896, today, Stanley Cup. Winnipeg Victorias beat the Montreal Victorias 2-0. Why do they have the same name?
Wow,
it's a little confusing.
That's a great point.
It's
both Canadian, too.
Both Canadian teams. You would think, let's change something up a little bit.
Yeah.
Be different.
Yeah, that is very.
Because if I say I'm a Victorias fan,
does that mean?
You win in this scenario. You are. You
can't lose.
You can't lose.
Like you look at Vegas. You say the book says that the Victorias are favored by 2 goals. All right, I'll take the Victorias.
You're going to win either way. All right, Zach. Next one.
1951. Sugar Ray Robinson defeats Jake LaMotta and takes the middleweight title.
I think I could beat him.
Yeah, probably.
All right, 2018. Wow, today.
That's today.
Champions League round of 16 kicked off today. Ronaldo scored 100th and 101st, Champion League goal. First player to ever reach that feat with one team, but Messi's not far behind. 97 with Barcelona. What's your take?
Yeah, so I think that obviously it's very impressive for Ronaldo. He came in today with 99 goals with Real Madrid. Went in today, scored a penalty kick, or not a free kick, and ended up scoring the 101st goal later in the game. They beat PSG and Neymar. 3-1 was the final score. Messi, like we said, not far behind. He has 97 career goals with Barcelona, and he's currently in this Champions League also. He's in this tournament, so I think he's going to score those 3 goals soon. It could be this week, possibly, and we'll see him having the same feat.
And I know Zach mentioned February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day to you too.
Who's your Valentine?
You're my Valentine.
Oh, I knew it. Yeah, let's go. All right, we're getting dinner out to show Potbelly's where it's at. All right, NBA. Zach, this is yours.
All right, so big news in the NBA. Obviously, the trade deadline has just passed. The biggest news coming out of the trade deadline, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They probably had the most change come from their team than anyone else in the NBA. They traded away 6 players, got back 4 players, and they are looking like a completely new team.
New because they're 2-0? I mean, I don't know if I
Yeah, because they're actually winning now.
Right, they're actually winning. Here's the thing. LeBron, he's a guy who can play in any certain circumstance. Beginning of his career, he played in Cleveland the year they went to the finals, and they had guys on the roster who, I looked it up today, had no idea who they were.
Yeah.
He went to Miami, played with Wade and Bosh, Big Three, won a championship. Went back to Cleveland, got Kevin Love. I mean, he can play with anyone. It doesn't matter.
That's the magic of LeBron. That's what many other players who try to only be as good as LeBron can only imagine doing.
And one player that is not good who tries is Russell Westbrook.
Right,
I mean,
Russell
look at
Westbrook.
Carmelo Anthony, Paul George. I mean, you bring in these guys. He can't adapt. He's not that kind of guy. I mean, he's having rebounds per game as a point guard. I mean, you really don't
Right.
see that.
I mean, we look at Westbrook last year. I mean, obviously he won MVP, averaged a triple double for only the second time ever after Oscar Robertson did 40 some years ago. And you see that Westbrook was the only, really, in my opinion, the only like good player on that team. They had Steven Adams, they had Enos Kanter, like they were fine, but Westbrook was like the star of that team. He was their best player, and they had a better record last year than they do right now.
Right.
So it's just that he can't really play with other big names. Is what I think.
Oh, 100%. And I know we were talking about this earlier. What do you think of LeBron and the Cavs? Are they for real now, or
I really don't think so. It's early to tell. They've played 2 games, and although they were big games, they went to Boston, won by 22. They went to Oklahoma City last night. They won by 8. I mean, those are big wins.
Huge wins.
When I look at this team, when you look at the stats, is that nobody on the Cavs had more than 3 assists in either game except for LeBron James, which means that they're not passing the ball around. They don't trust each other yet. This is a team of scorers, and they're looking good now because Jordan Clarkson is a very good shooter. J.R. Smith's getting back into a shooting groove. They have Kyle Korver. They're a good shooting team, but until they learn how to pass the ball and act like a team, they don't stand a chance against a team like Golden State.
You're 100%. You're right. They're 2-0. Can't really say are they a new team. It's right. 2 games into it.
Yeah, and if you look at the game against Boston, like Kyrie shot 1 for 7 from 3.
I mean, I don't want to compare it, but we're going to do another Cleveland team. The Browns had a great preseason. Nobody really expected them to win a game, and then went 0-16. I mean, not comparing the two because they're 2 different franchises, but it's that same aspect. You can't say, oh, they're going to win it now because they're 2-0 after a trade. It's too early to tell. We'll see how it goes as we continue on throughout the year.
Right.
We're not even at the All-Star break yet.
I know, and that's only the halfway point of the year. We're a little past halfway. And you look at the trade between the Cavs and the Lakers, and it's really hard to say that either team really won the trade right now because originally when the trade happened, I would have said that the Lakers won the trade getting Isaiah Thomas, so I believe he's a star. But early on, it looks like the Cavs have really found something with Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance on their team, and Rodney Hood. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out.
And with the Lakers shipping away everyone to clear up cap space, looks like they're trying to get LeBron in the offseason. But what about these comments of LeVar Ball telling the media that he would love to see Lonzo play with his 2 brothers, regardless of which team it's on? Does that ruin the...
Well, let me first say, LiAngelo Ball will never play in the NBA. He's not good enough.
Okay, I agree with that.
He will never play in the NBA, and I think there's also 0 chance that LeVar Ball lets Lonzo play overseas, especially in a place like Lithuania.
I'm talking about the NBA, though. I get he's not. There's no way he's on the Lakers. He's set, but honestly, no one would really care if he wasn't on a big market team right now because it's the LeVar show. True. But does that ruin LeBron and his, saying, "Oh, I want to go to LA because big market team." Now that LeVar's there and basically saying, "Well, it's basically just a show for everyone to see. It's a circus."
Yeah, you're right. And another thing about LeBron going to LA now, you look at obviously the trade that they just did. You see Isaiah Thomas, former teammate of LeBron's now in LA. They didn't work well together for the few games Isaiah Thomas was in Cleveland. Why would LeBron want to go back and play with him?
No, 100%. With that, I got a question for you. Trae Young, the next Steph Curry.
There are a lot of comparisons between them. And when you look at it, it's very easy to say yes. Trae Young is a phenomenal passer. He's a great ball handler. He can drive to the rim. And like Steph Curry, he's got range. He's got range like no one else in college basketball right now. And something else similar to Steph Curry, if you looked at the usage stats and how many points they were responsible for on their respective college teams, they're very similar numbers. Even look, you see Trae Young has the ball more in his hands than Curry did in college. And Trae Young's averaging less turnovers than Curry did in college. I mean, Trae Young is the real deal. He can pass, he can shoot, he can do basically everything you want in a professional basketball player, and he's doing it in college.
I agree. I'm going to be honest. I agree with that statement. The numbers don't lie. I do think that he's not as mature as Steph Curry was because coming into the draft, because we know Trae Young's most likely leaving after this year.
Right.
Steph Curry played 3 years, and he learned the aspect of college basketball and he was ready to go to the NBA. I don't think Trae Young will be as prepared as Steph Curry was, but you will see the same numbers, I guarantee.
You also look, though, you see Trae Young playing the Big 12, which is, as we've talked about in the past weeks, a fantastic conference. You see Curry playing for Davidson in the Southern Conference. Not as much competition. Trae Young's gone up against guys like Mo Bamba. He's gone up against teams like Kansas, West Virginia. He's played good defenses. He still thrives.
Right.
That's what's amazing about Trae Young.
Oh, wow. Monday night was rough.
It was rough. I was at that game. Texas basketball, home against Baylor. Seemed like an easy win, Will.
Well, Kansas State seemed like an easy win, too, but that didn't go over well. Will they make the tournament?
No. I hate to say it. No.
That game Monday night, the winner had a 30% increase of making the tournament. That means Texas got a 30% decrease of making the tournament. Apparently now there's a 51% chance they make it, which is maybe no.
I think it's a little generous.
I think that's a little generous. I'm going to agree. You just can't do it. And going off of that, we have a question from our famous Herb from San Antonio. If Texas basketball finishes last in the Big 12, what happens to Shaka Smart? That question continues on with what we were just talking about. Well, first off, he has an extension through 2023. It's a long time away. He's got a $3 million base salary with a $100,000 increase each season. 20-11 in his first season, they made the tournament. 11-22 in his second season after they lost a lot of starters that year. Now they're 15-11, 5-8 in Big 12. They have 5 games to go in the regular season. They have 1 away win in the Big 12. Last year they had 0. So when they were all talking about we got to win the away games, I mean, they haven't. Will Shaka Smart be fired if they finish last? Probably. I mean, you look at it. Charlie Strong, 3 seasons he was gone. Shaka Smart, this could be the last season he's gone.
I'm going to disagree with you, Will. I think that there is absolutely 0 chance. We lose the rest of the games. I still don't think Shaka Smart is getting fired. I think that what you see with this team right now and what you see with our team next year, the only difference that I see is that Mo Bamba won't be on the team. We had 4 of our starting players this year are freshmen. Dylan Osikowski, our other starter, is a junior. He's going to be a senior next year. We have more recruits coming in next year, all Shaka's recruits. And these guys who are all playing under Shaka right now, they know his system. And I would also like to say that, yes, this is Shaka's fault. I think he is to blame for our struggles right now. And I think that the problem is that he doesn't work our guys hard enough. I mean, I go to these games, I see Mo Bamba. It doesn't look like he's trying. He puts in no effort. He doesn't have the drive to play. And I think that is on Shaka Smart. And I think that a lot of guys are playing with the same mentality. If they don't have the mentality to go out there and win, and that is on Shaka. But he is a good coach. He knows basketball. I just think he needs to be a little better at motivating players. And like I said, these guys are all his recruits. They're playing under him. He knows this team right now. I think next year we will be good. And I think Shaka is gonna center around how well he can coach.
Okay, I'm gonna go from your point of view right now. I'm gonna first agree that if they lose every single game now and they end up finishing last, it's gonna be time. You gotta do something because something's not working. I'm gonna go from your point of view here and say that he shouldn't be fired. Here's the reason why. He's got to learn that when you're shooting 3 of 19 in a game, maybe it's time to stop shooting threes. So yes, if he stays, he should maybe think about, hey, let's not shoot threes. Let's go inside to Mo Bamba. They start doing that, they're going to be successful. You saw it. We saw Lob City. That's what it basically is. It's Clippers Nation here. They need to go inside. If they continue doing that, they'll have success next year. They have some big guys. Stop shooting the threes. You can't shoot. And, I mean, I agree. They don't look like they're being worked. So if you see him here next year, that needs to be their focus. But if we're going to compare this to Rick Barnes, his first 3 seasons, they made the tournament 3 straight years. They were Big 12 champs in his first season. They went 19-13 that year. Second year, they went 24-9. Third year, they went 25-9. His last 3 years, they went 16-18. So that's his losing season. Shaka's had 1. 24-11, his second to last year. And then his final season, he went 20-14. 2 NCAA tournament appearances, 1 CBI appearance. Shaka's 5 games to go in his third year here. He's 46-44. 5 games to go. Tough. Some very good opponents. Rick Barnes was 60-43 in his first 3 years. That's where you got to compare it. That's why I'm going to say he it may be time to move on. You got to compare it where you fired Rick Barnes when he was 16-43 in his last 3 years, coming off of a 20-14 season, an NCAA tournament appearance. You're losing 2 tournament appearances in a row. Maybe it's time. Rick Barnes made the tournament almost every year except for one. Made it every year except for one. 2 years in a row, it's time. That's the same thing as having Texas football had technically 3 losing seasons in a row with Charlie Strong. Now I'm not going to include that because we'll take away the bowl game and say there's two losing seasons in a row because that year they were 6-6. But when you are losing games after game, it's the same mistakes, shooting threes and telling guys not to do something. You got to change it. I mean, it's obvious from the stands. I'm watching the game and I'm seeing shots going up left and right and knowing that's not going in. And then you could say in the clutch, they're making shots. But when they're going 3 of 19 from 3-point range, that's 15.8%. 15.8% is not successful. You're not going to win games. If you shoot less, maybe if you go 3 of 10, that's 30%. If you say, okay, we're only going to shoot 10 threes, we're going to feed the ball inside, our last resort is shooting a 3. That's what should be the mentality with the big guys they have this season. Not, let's go down the court every single time, 5 seconds into the possession, taking a 3, running back on defense, giving up 2 points. They're not rebounding. I don't even know what to say. It's ridiculous watching these games. They're losing by 1 point. They're not making free throws down the stretch. We had a technical foul. We had 2 free throws against Baylor. Missed them both. That would have been the winning point right there.
You know what, Will? I'm going to send in an application for you to be the next Texas basketball head coach.
So Evan Justin.
I mean, I agree that you're right. I agree Shaka needs to figure out what he's doing, but at the same time, this is his team. These are his recruits. I think it's hard to fire a guy for all of that.
And we could say, he has an extension through 2023, and that buyout's going to be huge.
Right.
But you want to see them be successful. If they're not going to be successful, then you got to change something up. And now I saw an article the other day and it was talking about how you can't fire a coach or the fans can't have a coach fired because they don't show up to games. All right, that's kind of true. Texas fans aren't reliable when it comes to going to basketball games. But in this case, it's not even that. You're not winning. You're not going to show up. Kansas fans won't show up if you're losing. If you're losing consecutive games, I don't see Kansas fans wanting to go to these games to get blown out. But here's the thing. Kansas isn't going to lose games. They're Kansas.
Right.
It's a different mentality. But if Texas keeps losing, nobody's going to continue to want to go to these games. I mean, we've gone to all the big games. We've gone to some of the smaller games. But in reality, I didn't want to go on Monday. I had homework to do. All these big basketball schools where you are winning, you're going to the game. Now, my mom's listening. I study. No question. I will put that first. But these basketball games, you want to go to these sporting events.
I think another big thing that's going to help that is we recently just learned that we're building a new basketball stadium. Like the basketball stadium that we have right now, it's not that close from our dorm.
It really is.
Like we have to take an Uber there. It's not like a nice walk, which I think it will be soon in the future. And also, like you said, it seems like fans aren't really showing up. It is a monster stadium. There are way too many seats for the amount of people that show up to the game. I think you get a smaller stadium, get it more densely packed. You're going to have more people come. You're going to have better fans.
And with that, love that take. That was great. Check out our website, BazarSportsRadio.com. Send us questions, watch some videos. It'll be a great time, I'm sure. Will Bazarski, Zach Dolans, happy Valentine's Day.
On the field, come on, hook 'em horns. I know you will. And I've seen Vince Young run for the roses. Watch Ricky